Welcome to the Royal Archetypes astrology channel. Welcome. In the previous video, I spoke about the sun in its archetypical presence in your psychology, and today I'm going to speak about the moon and how it plays out in your psyche. The information I'm drawing from is by the research by the Dr. Richard Tarnas, who is the author of the book Cosmos and Psyche. And the moon represents the feminine side of the psyche, the anima in Jungian terms. So Jungian is the Carl Jung we're talking about. And associated with the emotionality and instinctive nature of our personality. And it interestingly shows the early mother-child relationship. So the moon symbolizes the womb of one's being. So it is more of an internal experience that you get to access more readily than how people can see from the outside. It says here, while the sun reflects one's sense of autonomous conscious selfhood, one's personal identity and will is more active and self-directing in nature. The moon represents more one's underlying psychological character. Now, in the conventional horoscope, when it talks about the the signs, Aries or Taurus, they're fundamentally depicting the sun sign, but we know that astrology is a complex art and science combined. So by looking at the moon, you get to see the sense of self that is deeper and more accessible for you. Now, about the mother and child relationship. So the case here, as an example, is if you have a Gemini moon, go back to your childhood and see what was your relationship with your mother was like. And then you can sort of understand what may have been the shadow of hers that you inherited. And therefore, by recognizing this shadow quality of this Gemini sign, you can transcend it. So moon corresponds to how one feels about oneself before one thinks about oneself. So it's an innate knowing about who you are. And it tends to be changeable and fluctuating in character, like the moon goes through a cycle and moves fast around the earth. And so it's shifting in cycles. Now, moon concerns one's immediate psychosomatic mode of responsive to life that begins in one's earliest years. So it reflects one's intimate relationships, familiar and otherwise, of one's home life. It is yin in nature. So let's take it more practical about this information. I'll give you an example of my life, right? And you can apply that for yourself too. My moon is in Sagittarius, and my earlier relationship with mom was fun, and etc. etc. Now, the fun nature is depicted in my childhood memory of traveling to the nature with mom and dad, and we took the airplanes, the car, every opportunity we get during the vacation, we would take off as a family. We travel. So when we study the Sagittarius archetype, it's about expansion through learning, life experiences, and adventure. And so it makes sense. Now, what about your moon sign? What is it? And trace it back to your earlier childhood and see what may have been the theme. And what is beautiful about astrology, studying it, is that once you recognize these hidden patterns by verbalizing it and by recognizing it with this information, then you have the power to change it. Then later, the astrology becomes a tool of the past, and you would be on your path to evolution and ascension. Therefore, you will not need astrology to sort of explain who you are. So that's the magic of astrology. Yes, so later on I'm going to post videos about the houses. So what you can do is consider this video like a puzzle, one puzzle piece. You can pick and choose and make meaning out of it. So like an example, this is a video about moon. Later there will be a video about houses. Later there will be about a video about a sign. So you pick and choose and see what resonates with you. Okay, cool. So this was a segment on the moon according to the archetypal astrology, research by Dr. Richard Tarnas and research by Kate from a lived experience. See you later.